lovelies! Today I'm going to be sharing with you my story of how I work as an actor while also being a full-time university student. This is not always the easiest task, I must be honest, but it is something I really love and I'm really passionate about. I have to say, I think the most important thing that I've learned is I have to prioritize and realize what my goals are and exactly what stepping stones I need to take in order to attain those goals. This sometimes means saying no to really great opportunities, and that is really hard. But I've noticed that if I just keep piling things onto my plate, I will get so burnt out by, say, the end of the semester, and then I don't produce the same work that I would if I was not so burned out. So I think it's really important for me to make sure I am really aware of what I want in the near future and the far future and the 5 years and 10-year plans and all that scary stuff. But making sure I know exactly what those goals are and then totally forging towards them. So one of those goals for me is being a university student. I know I talk a lot about being an actor, but it was also really important to me to graduate with my bachelor's degree. Something I want to ultimately do is get a master's degree in speech language pathology. That's another goal I have that I could talk about a lot in the future, but it was really important for me to get a degree in undergrad while I was here. So this year I'm going into my third, but also my final year of university. I'm a music major with a minor in communication sciences and disorders. And I really love my programs. They're really fabulous, and I feel like I learned so many unique things in both of them, but they're both so applicable, once again, to my career and the life I want to lead here. And so it's been a really great opportunity doing that. Like I said, I'm graduating in 3 years, which is something that I'm really excited about because I am going to be graduating just about a month after I turn 21, which means I'm going to be able to kind of jumpstart my career and the rest of my life early, which is something I'm super excited about because I'm really excited about my career and I'm really excited to dive into it. And balancing acting and university can kind of be a teetering scale just because they're both so demanding. And so to be able to prioritize all of my learning right now and then dive into my career a little bit early is something that really excites me and something I'm really looking forward to. The way I was able to graduate early, if all goes well, I still have another year, is I took 18 credits every semester, and I also took summer classes, and I'm going to be taking a winter session class. So it is a lot. There's a lot of classes. There's a lot of school. I really like school, so this wasn't too upsetting to me because I enjoy going to class and I enjoy everything I'm learning. That also is super helpful is that I love my major and minor, so most of my classes are really direct, and even my other gen ed classes tend to focus towards those and are pretty applicable to those career paths anyway. And so I've taken a lot of credits, but they've all been really interesting for the most part, and so that's something I tag off as being something I enjoy and one of the nice things in my day. Even though there are a lot of stressors that can be put on when you're doing two things at the same time, if you can find those things that you really like silly things like getting coffee in the morning or walking to class with your friends, it's a really nice and uplifting part of your day. I also was able to go through 2 years of university, taking classes only 2 or 3 days a week, so I could commute into the city the other days and get my acting training and dance training and my vocal lessons and all of that. I also take a lot of master classes and kind of one-off courses in order to keep my training up as a university student. Because I'm not a theater or acting or anything like that major, it was really important to me to be able to balance both of those learning fields, I guess. So while I was in university, I wanted to continue my performing arts training just because they were both so important to me and they're both so invaluable for my future. So I was able to manage that way by putting classes on certain days and then city days on certain days, classes and city days. And then auditions got squeezed in wherever they could. So sometimes I would have to ask permission to leave class to go to an audition, and sometimes I had to give up auditions because I had to go to class. And it was just one of those things that was a case-to-case basis. And it was something that I was able to manage throughout my years by being really communicative with my professors and talking to them about my goals and understanding at the same time the really important things that they were teaching and trying to balance where I needed to be. And all these things are not always easy to deal with. I mean, sometimes you have to make hard decisions. Like, if you have a test in university, maybe that ECC call is not the one for you, but if you have a day where you only have one class and your professor gave you permission to not be there because you get your work done at a different time or something, maybe that audition's the one for you. So it was also a game of kind of realizing that every audition was not the most important audition, and every day was not the make or break day for my career. So once again, it was just that kind of balancing. That's the word that keeps coming to mind. It's just kind of scaling your priorities and realizing where you need to be in order to be the most successful. Now, aside from acting and being a university student, I also work as a music teacher. I teach piano and voice, and I teach little ones every week. And this has been just the most fabulous job for me for so many reasons. First of all, I really love where I work, and I love the people I work with. My students are fabulous. And it being in a position where I'm teaching every day, it gives me so many opportunities to learn different perspectives about art and performing and music and all of that, because every student comes in the door with a different perspective and different experiences, different backgrounds. And so everyone's unique ideas kind of get tossed into me, and I'm able to think about them and help each student individually, which just totally expands my mind to the performing world and the arts world. And that has just been such an invaluable experience for me, and I continue to love doing it every week. The other thing that's so fabulous about my job is I was able to choose the days that I teach. So when I got the job, when I was at the end of my freshman year going into sophomore year, I chose to teach on a day that I didn't have a lot of classes, and a lot of classes don't run on that day. So that was my weekday teaching, and then I was also able to teach on the weekends, so that means I have no classes on the weekends, so there's no conflict. So once again, my favorite word, balancing. It was the idea of just putting things where I have open space instead of trying to constantly be running back and forth between activities. I think if I had a day where I had class and then I had to go to work, and then I had an acting class, and then I had to go back to work, and then I had an audition, and then I had a night class, that would be way too much running around, and I don't think my brain would be able to really function that great for each individual thing, and I wouldn't be able to focus on any one thing because I'd always be running to the next. But for me, being able to say, okay, Monday is my class day, Tuesday is my work day, Wednesday is my city day, I was able to really prioritize each day and know exactly where I was going every day and make sure I was giving my full attention to where I was. Additionally to these things, I also pick up side jobs all the time. Like I said, I work as an actor, so I've done a short film recently, I've done a ton of cabarets and theater shows and all of the things like that. I was also really lucky to make my director, choreographer, and music director debuts this year. So that's been a really fabulous experience as well, is kind of sitting on the other side of the table and hearing so many different perspectives on that end. One thing that's really important to me as well is kind of being a well-rounded artist and understanding a lot of different aspects of the arts. This has been something I'm passionate about since I was a kid, and it's something that continues to grow with me, and it's a passion that continues to grow. And I'm really lucky because I'm one of the people who have loved the performing arts my entire life, and I am able to continue to work in a field that allows me to continue to pursue that. And so I feel really lucky to be able to continue to get opportunities, whether it be things that are direct and kind of understandable, like acting or teaching or choreographing, or all of that. So all of those opportunities are really so fabulous, and I'm able to commit to all of them and do all of them because I choose what's going to be the most valuable for me, both as a performer and a person. Now that I'm saying all this out loud, it kind of sounds like a lot, and I'm not gonna lie, it can be a lot, and there are days where there's just 1,000 stressors and things are going wrong and schedules are getting changed and you're like, oh my goodness, where am I going to go? And that happens, and it's something that you have to be able to kind of compartmentalize and say, I'm imperfect, life happens, things change, and you kind of have to rework and be communicative and realize what you need to do in order to best serve your day. But these stressors are all coming from things that you're really passionate about. I feel really lucky in being able to say that I'm in a field that I love. Nobody becomes a performer or a musician or an actor because they don't like it. It's a field that people are really passionate about and people really enjoy, and I get to truly say that every job I do is really fun. You know, I'm teaching and I'm collaborating on art, or I'm acting and I'm producing art, or I'm creating art and directing, or all of that. And so it's just a really fabulous field that I would not give up for the entire world. And so at the end of the day, what keeps me grounded is remembering that this is all something I love and something that I'm really grateful to be able to do. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video about my story of how I manage my crazy, weird actor, university student, teacher, everything else that pops up life. And I will see you next week. Bye, lovelies.